YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with yet another Washington football team live stream, and I have some special guests with me today on the Warpath, Corey and Pedro Schmidt. Hey guys, it all goes down tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the preseason and the training camp, for the first 2 weeks. And like I told you guys, it goes down tomorrow. But before we get into today's show, I want to let these fine gentlemen introduce themselves. Starting to my very left on the Warpath. How are you doing today, man?
Doing good, Juan. Thanks for having me on here. I'm Corey from On the Warpath. Y'all know where you can find me at here on this on these YouTube streets. So again, appreciate it being on here with you and Pedro, man.
Yep, Pedro.
Yep, I'm Pedro Schmith. I got a Washington football team YouTube channel as well. And like Corey, I'm glad to be on the stream with Juan.
Yep. So we're not gonna waste no time, guys. Tomorrow it goes down, and I know people out there are saying it's preseason. What are you so hyped for? But one, and I'm speaking for all three of us because I know this how you guys feel too. For one, we didn't have a preseason last year, and for two, this is the first time in me and Pedro's lifetime. I know on the Warpath probably caught a little bit of it, but in the first time in me and Pedro's lifetime that this team is actually good, and it's seeming like it's going to be good for a consistent basis. Yeah, we got the glimpses of 2012, but I'll be honest, 2012, I didn't expect it. I didn't see a long-term success with RG3 because I seen the turmoil and I seen how injury prone he was and stuff like that. And then in 2015, I thought that maybe we could have been, successful for, a couple years in a row, but then that defense was terrible and up top was terrible too. So this is the first time in my lifetime being a Washington fan that I finally am seeing this team talented enough from head coaching to players that I can see us being successful for for multiple years to come. So like I said, that's the reason why I'm so excited about preseasons, because one, we didn't have it last year, and it's our team. Two, and three, this team is actually talented, and we have so many question marks. So I want to ask Pedro with the first question. Why are you so excited for training or preseason rather? Because a lot of people, out there aren't, that excited about preseason. They just think it's like, okay, it's something that's going to hold us over into the regular season.
Well, I'm super excited. Yeah, I mean, I don't quite understand too much why. I mean, I guess some people just don't like it because it's really like a quarter or two of like the starters playing. But I feel like, especially early on, it's really good to see, especially the young players. I mean, this is the first time we're going to see the whole rookie class that we just drafted. First time we're going to see them in NFL live action in a Washington football team uniform. Going to see William Jackson, going to see Fitzpatrick. So I'm just really excited to see mostly the young players, because we know our defensive line is going to be dominant. We don't need to see them in the preseason. Like, I honestly, with those guys, I'm fine with them only playing maybe a quarter of total preseason football, maybe a half, because we know they're going to be good. Maybe you put Matt Ioannidis a little bit more because he's coming back from injury, but I'm just really excited to see the young guys, and I'm sure later on we'll get into specific guys that we're more excited to see.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that front. And then also we got to think about last year's draft class. We didn't get a preseason with these guys, and outside of the Antonio Gibsons, the Chase Youngs, and the Cameron Curl, we really didn't see a lot of the James Smith Williams last year, and who else? Khaleke Hudson, another guy that was drafted last year that we didn't really get to see. We saw a little bit of it, but now this preseason we're going to see a lot of those guys and see what they have to offer. So Warpath, Corey, I want to ask, why are you so excited for this year's preseason?
Well, I'm excited to get it over with so we can get to the real thing. It's a precursor to hopefully good stuff that's going to happen around the horizon. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing this draft class in action. I've kind of gotten a fanhood for Cameron Cheeseman, so I want to see him and how he was working with Dustin Hopkins and Tress Way. But also, we haven't heard a lot out of Derek Forrest, who had some good reviews coming out of college. John Bates, where does he fit in this offense? We saw him hitting the pads on Friday a couple of times. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the young guys and the guys who are on the bubble who might not. This wide receiver battle is going to be something interesting to see as well too. So yeah, I mean, I'm hyped just to see the burgundy and gold on the field and everything. So yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll, dude.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you because it's been a long time since we've seen these guys. I can remember 6 months ago when we lost to Tampa Bay. I sat there an hour at my couch and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to see these boys for another 6 months. And this is like I told you, this is the first time that I'm like excited. I mean, I'm excited for every year, but like last year, 2018 going into 2019, not having Alex Smith, I was like, we're doomed, man. No matter who we draft, because we're gonna have wait for them to develop. We're doomed. Now, I didn't expect that 2019 season to be that bad. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't expect it to be good. But 2020, yeah, we went 7-9. It wasn't good. We won a division, but it wasn't good. But we saw the upside. So last year, I sat at my couch and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to see these guys for another 6 months. But Lord behold you, this is the fastest offseason I've been a part of. I'll be honest about that. It came fast, or at least me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys, but this offseason went flew by from the free agent period to the draft, and now here, mini camp, training camp, OTAs, and stuff like that. And now we're in the preseason. So I want to continue to ask on the Warpath this because he was actually there at training camp. So they talk about how good all these players have been. You know, how good Dayami's route running is, how good Benjamin St. Juice look, how good Terry McLaurin looks and stuff like that. But we never hear about the bad things. And, I don't think that's something that they would, make light of anyway. But since you went out there, who was some guys that you thought have struggled or were struggling when you were at least there?
Well, the one thing that I really noted was that that Sam Cosmi was struggling. A lot of people in the media made note of that. He was struggling, but dear God, look at who he was going up against. I was actually out there when they were doing the punt return warmups, and this was when they were shooting it out the gun and everything. And Dax Milne was struggling with getting the punt. I think he dropped like 3 of them in a row. We've seen DeAndre Carter, who was pretty clean cut with it. And I think Steven Sims kind of dropped one as well, too. But you've seen Cosme. At times he struggled, but apparently he's getting a little bit better out there. And, I think that Diami, he it's been coming good for him as well, too. And St. Juice, he really hasn't had his struggles. Notably, hasn't had too many struggles there. So it seems like they're not really covering too much of the struggles that they're having. And to be honest with you, I think Richmond, they really didn't show much. It was just a glorified workout out there. I think most of their struggles were coming from, the vaccination thing that was going on down there and being under the 50% and all that stuff. But it seems like they've boosted it up since then. But I think that was really the focus at training camp in Richmond, was trying to get that number up. And I think they got it up on Sunday when they came back from Richmond. But, I think that, like I said, the rookies, they're having their struggles there. Kelvin Harmon, also, it's with the wide receivers. He and AGG. I don't know if you noticed that or not, Juan. AGG went and sat on the bench and sat with Ryan Vermillion and came back out there. Kelvin Harmon did not dress out. That's another struggle right there. And then, Matt Ioannidis, he's had his bout with COVID, and then he's coming off that injury as well, too. So, we really haven't seen him in pads at all this preseason training camp. So that's something to be noted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to kind of talk about Sam Cosmi because, they made light of his struggles there in Richmond. But ever since we put on the pads, he's been a different person. I mean, at the Friday practice, I saw him manhandle Chase Young for the first time ever, or at least, let me not say manhandle, but let me say he held his ground. If it was a real game situation and he was going up against Chase Young, it would have been a clean pocket. Now, I didn't see him do that with Montez Sweat. Quite frankly, Montez Sweat is still bullying the guy. Now, it's seeming like he is cleaning up a little bit to Montez Sweat. It seems like he's figured out Chase Young, but he's still learning on Montez Sweat. And a lot of people was making the case that Montez Sweat is better than Chase Young, and they're not wrong for that. Montez Sweat is a freak of nature, man, and it looks like Sam Cosmi is still struggling with them. But, yeah, they said Sam Cosmi was struggling at Richmond. But since he put on the pads, he's been a different person. And maybe that is, a thing with linemen. They have to have physicality involved, and they didn't really have that in Richmond. And since they put on the pads, he's been a different person. Now, Pedro, I want to ask you the same question. Obviously, I don't think you were there at the training camp, but who is a guy that you feel like has been struggling, or at least a guy that you wanted to hear a lot about, or at least something about that you really haven't been hearing about? And I guess that means he's possibly struggling.
Yeah, one quick thing I'll say about Sam Cosme. I even heard that he, the last few days has, done solid against Montez. So I can't remember if it was Rhiannon Walker or Ben Stanek put out a tweet saying that he held his own against Montez. When I heard John Keim also talk about in his podcast that in terms of the matchup, like in 1v1s, he thinks that just because of some of Sam Cosme's weaknesses, he does worse against guys with like longer arms who have length. And obviously Montez Sweat has that over Chase Young. So that's why he's been struggling more against Montez Sweat. And then what I'll say, one guy, I don't know if he's struggling because obviously I wasn't there in live action to see him in training camp, but it seems like anytime there's a big play, whether it's Terry, some other guys too, it seems like William Jackson is on the wrong end of it. Like, I mean, I know it's hard to cover Terry, but it seems like every single practice there's like a 50 or 60-yard touchdown to Terry, and William Jackson was guarding him. There's a couple times he did the same thing against Cam Sims and others. So I'm not going to be too concerned about it yet because obviously we haven't seen it. I mean, I haven't been there live, and also, I mean, he's going up against Terry McLaurin, one of the best receivers in the NFL. But that's really the only guy that I would say that is struggling a little bit, but that's really it.
Yeah, and what about on the Warpath? I know I asked you about it, but could you answer Pedro's, player was William Jackson struggling with when you were there? And I don't know if he practiced actually when you were there. I'm not sure, but
he didn't practice on Friday, but I think he was there in Richmond.
Okay, yeah. And also I want to talk about another corner, Pedro. Kendall Fuller, the guy that has been, in the famous video of Friday Night Football. I'm telling you, Pedro, if you was there, man, you would have thought it was a Sunday night or Sunday day game. We thought we were playing the Chargers the way the stadium erupted when Terry McLaurin caught that touchdown pass. It was on the other side of me, so I didn't see it. I had to look on the Jumbotron, but trust me, it was electric. And Kendall Fuller is another guy that I wanted to talk about. So when you answer, Pedro's William Jackson, could you do the same with Kendall Fuller? Because I feel like he's been struggling a little bit. And once again, I don't want to look too much into it, but every time, like Pedro said, every time he looks at William Jackson, he's always getting, a pass caught on him for about 60 yards, 50 yards, and a little bit of the same with Kendall Fuller. So with those two, when you were there, were they struggling a little bit, or were they not looking like themselves, or anything about that?
I think Kendall struggled, but I think the biggest person who's corner is Troy Apke that struggled. I mean, and you can even mention it, Juan, every time he was getting cooked. I mean, he would get the worst wide receiver a job. I mean, I think AGG and Kelvin Harmon could go out there with one bad leg and still get a roster spot if he's going up against Troy Apke. Apke has been crap key, boys. And to Kendall's defense, he needs to be on the inside. That's just I think, especially after him going up against Mike Evans and getting harassed, I think he still has a warrant out for that young man's arrest, pretty much. So, I can't speak to that a little bit. He has seen a little bit of struggle, but what corner isn't really going to struggle against Terry McLaurin? Like Terry has been like a magnet, pretty much.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too. I think what should be, and I don't think this is going to be at least to start the season. I feel like it may now that he's starting to really pick up some steam in training camp. Benjamin St. Juste needs to be the second corner on the outside, and you put Kendall Fuller in the slot. Why is that? Yeah, we know Kendall Fuller can play the outside, but not better than he can play the slot. We've seen that countless times last year. Was it the Giants game? Was it the Lions game where he literally, who was it? It wasn't Kenny Galladay. It was Marvin Jones, wasn't it? In the Lions game where he got killed.
It was just it wasn't even Marvin Jones. It was someone else who just on the first possession just got like a 70-yard touchdown on him.
Yeah, I thought it was Marvin Jones. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. The guy he gets his he gets killed sometimes. I'm trying to be nice here, but because I love me some Kendall Fuller, but he gets killed sometimes. He makes his money in the slot. He got paid. We traded him to Kansas City, and he came back here and got paid to be a slot corner, in my opinion. But we didn't really have no outside corners outside of Ronald Darby last year, so we had to move him outside. Jimmy Moore is another guy who I feel like, should get a chance outside, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with that. I think he needs to be in the slot that's where he performs his best. And I think it should be Benjamin St-Juste on the outside. It needs to be obviously William Jackson. He's cornerback 1. And then Kendall Fuller on the inside. What do you think about that, Pedro?
I think that's where you want to be eventually. I kind of said that when they drafted Benjamin St-Juste. I think ideally in a year or so, once he's developed, you put Benjamin St-Juste on the outside, William Jackson on the outside, and slide Kendall Fuller inside. And I was saying that, assuming that Benjamin St-Juste wouldn't, because he's had really good training camp, really good mini camp. I wasn't assuming that. So I think it would probably be good to not just put him out there as a starter on the outside right away because I don't know. You're just a rookie cornerback. You might give up a bunch of big plays early on. So I would say is especially in the first couple games, move him around in some different packages where you can put him in a few plays every possession, maybe 1 or 2 every possession where you can put him on the outside, move him around. But I don't know if like right away you should have him starting on the outside like full time. But I think at some point during the season, if he's looking good, I think then you can put him on the outside and move Kendall Fuller to the inside because that is his natural position, even though he's not going to be happy with that because, I think he's going to be the highest paid slot corner if he moves inside. And he wants obviously to be on the outside because they get paid more.
Yeah, and before we continue with the talking here, we have a Lions fan in here. The Lions will finish 8-9, and the Washington football team will finish 5-12. He also says, "Didn't you guys own or pimp out cheerleaders?" So let's take the time to give him his 30 seconds of fame because obviously that's what he wants. Hey, and we get to make fun of the Lions. They're not rivals, but we get to make fun of them. I mean, you guys are probably the worst team in the NFL outside of the Texans. Maybe they're a little bit worse than you guys. You got Jared Goff. Congratulations. Who else do you have over there in Detroit, man, in the wide receiving core? You lost Kenny Golladay. I don't think you have Marvin Jones anymore. You have TJ Hawkinson, who wants to get out of there. He's wasting his career in Detroit. you drafted Penei Sewell. We'll see how that looks for you guys. But let's take shots at the Lions, guys. Let's do that. Since he brought it on himself, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have any problems with the Lions. We don't have any problems with the NFC North. But he asked for it. Warpath, we know you're the best at this. So let the man have it because obviously he wants it.
First of all, excuse my French when I say this. I'll be damned if somebody with the first name depressed is going to tell me about his team being better than my team. I will give Detroit respect. They have beat us last a few times out of whenever, but that's because we bail them out every time. That's all Washington does is bail Detroit, whether it's in the auto industry or if it's in the football industry as well. So I would sit there, have a Coke and smile, and you really ain't got hold on, wait a minute, let me see here. Yeah, you got a bag in your picture. Don't do that. You clowning yourself. You look like a clown. Okay, whatever. That's all you say. I mean, I'm just telling you, man. Don't come up in here. You want to we bring the smoke. Fire and ice. Boom. So I think that's funny.
Yeah, and I was just about to say you need to talk to your coach Dan Campbell. He's talking about snapping kneecaps off. I want to make sure he's okay. You know what I'm saying? And Pedro, if you want to add on to it, you can, but I know you're more of the laid back guy. So if you want to add on to the
just not much to say. It's the Lions. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, you can't. Yeah.
I got one more for you, Juan.
Go ahead. I'm gonna go get to the door right quick.
He said, "Hold on." but y'all's owner destroyed our franchise. Y'all's owner destroyed the auto industry. Don't come at me with that stuff. That's why they say Ford found on road dead. That's why they say it. I'm done.
Yeah.
No offense to any Ford owners. So
And what the Lions have won, like what, one playoff game in their
Pedro,
existence?
you weren't even a thought when that happened. I think I was like barely learning how to walk the last time.
1991, right? I think that's the last time they
Like
won.
90 something. It was like early 90s. I know that much. Don't quote me on that. But
I mean, we haven't made the playoffs in a long time,
Yeah.
but the Lions, oof.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Man, our owner was pimping out cheerleaders while your owner was pimping out the Model T. So leave us alone.
yeah. So I mean, I think Juan is closing the door, or he's doing something. But I mean, while he's coming back, we can talk some Washington football. So, what are some guys? And I'm sure Juan's going to come in here in a second. He said, or the Press Detroit fan says, we made the NFC Championship in 1991.
And who beat the brakes off of y'all? Who beat the brakes off of y'all in that NFC Championship game? Like, don't come in here. Y'all got to be like 41-7. Stop playing, man. What's wrong with you?
Okay, what did I miss? Nothing.
You ain't missed nothing.
He said that he was like, we made the NFC Championship in 1991, and that was the year we beat them by like 30-something points.
See, Pedro's being an instigator over here. He tried to be smooth and everything, and then he tries to trigger me over. He's like, here, I'm just gonna be like, let's focus on this, but I'm really gonna get Corey to get drawn in on this.
and I could do this all day, but you know what I mean? Hey, let it be Detroit to be the team to ruin two good Hall of Fame careers and make their careers be short of what it shouldn't have been. Barry Sanders, who played, 9-10 years in the league, should have been way longer than that. Calvin Johnson, who's arguably the best wide receiver of the 2010s, only played 8 seasons, should have played longer than that. And anytime Calvin Johnson, and you can look at his Hall of Fame interviews before, not his speech, but his interviews that whole week, anytime they ask the question about the front office, you've seen how his demeanor changed. So Detroit is just a worse turmoil than us, and that's crazy than a turmoil organization than us. So for him to even come in here, and I'll give you credit for standing on your team, and there's not a lot of people that do that. Your name's depressed Lions fan, and you're up here, talking trash, and I gotta commend you for that, for having pride about the Lions, and that's what is the word I'm looking for here? That's strong of you. Let me put it that way. But moving on.
It's cute.
We gave him his 30 seconds of fame. That's what he wanted.
God.
You know what I mean? That's what he wanted.
One
we
pride,
had to give
no
it to
pride.
him. Yeah, he wanted it, so we had to give it to him. So moving on back to the show here. I want to ask you guys a question about the preseason game tomorrow. What is one player, and let's try not to name the obvious, because we know we obviously want to see Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Terry. Let's try to go with somebody that's maybe young, or somebody that's kind of, out the way, that a lot of people don't really talk about here. Who is a player that you most excited to see, and why? I'll start it off first by saying Khaleke Hudson. I want to see Khaleke Hudson. I want to see if he truly could, be that weak side linebacker that we're in need of, because I feel like eventually at some point in the season they're going to move Jamin Davis to middle linebacker, and they're going to, move Khaleke Hudson to a weak side and have John Bostic on the bench. Like I said, I tell Warpath this all the time. I love John Bostic as a depth piece, but he does not need to be a starter. He doesn't need to be a guy that's playing every snap on every single play. So I'm excited to see Khaleke Hudson, because I feel like at some point in time they need to move this guy to start on weak side. Jamin Davis is going to be starting middle linebacker, and obviously Cole Holcomb is going to be your starting strong side linebacker. So I'll start with Pedro this time. Who are you most excited to see, and why?
Honestly, and I mean, I don't you said Chase Young, Montez Sweat, those guys are obvious. Honestly, I don't want to see those guys. I want those guys to just not even play, because we do not need any injuries. They're all good. We know they're going to be fine. but I'll go with a player that I am excited to watch because I think, the young players are pretty obvious, but I'll go with a vet, and that's Landon Collins. I'm excited to see how he actually looks coming back from his injury because, we hear he looks really good in camp. We hear he's explosive. He looks better than ever. But I want to see if that's actually true. I mean, we hear about players looking good in practice all the time. Cam Sims, Troy Apke, the last couple years, and we know what happened with them in those years. I know Cam Sims finally rebounded, but I mean, he had a great training camp last year and still didn't end up making the roster. But I want to see if he actually is able to translate that onto into the game and if he can look solid. But we'll see. But I'm excited to see him and if that athleticism is still there because, like I said, we've seen players have great training camps and then proceed to either get cut or when they make the team, they just don't do good, just like Troy Apke last year. You're muted,
You
Juan.
muted him on.
My bad, my
You're
bad.
good now. You're good.
But I agree with that. I want to see Landon Collins. I want to see if he can be the Landon Collins that he won an All Pro with, or he was elected All Pro with in New York. Because I feel like he really hasn't been that since he took or he got paid here. If you watch my videos, you guys know I'm not the biggest Landon Collins fan. It's not that I hate the guy as a player or a person. I just hate the fact that where he's giving us the Josh Norman treatment. You know what I'm saying? He's getting paid $85 million and he hasn't been worth $85 million. $85 million is game changing money. Has Landon Collins been a game changer since he's been here? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? That's Jamal Adams money. You know what I'm saying? And it's even questions about Jamal Adams being a playmaker from the aspect of being coveraging safety. We know he's a guy that comes in the box and sacks the quarterback. Jamal Adams is a game changer safety. He's a guy that deserves $85 million, but we're not even going to talk about that because he's not even get his money in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? But that's money that goes to the top corners in the league, and Landon Collins hasn't been the top corner in the league, so that's the reason why I'm not the biggest Landon Collins fan. That's always can change if he can come out here, playing how he was in New York. And it's been talks about him looking like that in training camp. So I agree with you on that front. I want to see Landon Collins. What about you on Warpath?
Well, I want to see some of these rookies out here. I do want to see my boy John Bates. I want to see Benjamin St. Juice because I want to see if St. Juice is what he's billed to be. And it kind of and going back to what Pedro said about bringing him along. Is he going to follow in the footsteps of Antonio Gibson and how they kind of slowly brought him along on the offensive side of the ball? That could be something there. But I really want to see if St. Juice is worth the billing and seeing how Cosme does against somebody else who's not Montez Sweat or Chase Young, just to see if he has learned something and see how the game slows down for him. I'm really looking forward to seeing those three rookies out there. And also, Tamrick Hemingway apparently is getting on people's radar again. I want to see him and see if it's just fool's gold or if he might be the real deal.
Yeah, and out of all those guys, you'll be surprised. I want to see Tamrick Hemingway too. For the past couple of days, they've been saying this guy's looking good, and that's part to Samus Reyes not being healthy. I mean, he's been out there, but he hasn't been healthy. So, and Ricky Seals-Jones dealing with a contusion. So, who else was there to take the snaps behind Logan Thomas? Tamrick Hemingway, and he's a guy that I'm interested to see. Remember, he came in and in the Rams game, he made a catch. He was overly excited about that. I still remember that. So I am excited to see him, man. Before we move on with the show here, I want to address Roger Smith. Shout out to my man Roger Smith. He said, I didn't see any reminders, promos for this live stream. Should have checked Twitter. I actually didn't put it on Twitter this time. I wonder if it's just YouTube not sending out notifications or anything, because I definitely promoted it. But if you don't have post notifications on for me, make sure you guys turn that on for me, please, so you guys can get notified about the live streams and each and every video I posted. And shout out to Roger Smith again. I'll take this time to promote all three of us. Why not? That's what we're here for, to promote and gain and talk watch football. So make sure you guys do me a favor, subscribe to me, turn on post notifications, and like this stream and every video that I do when you check it out, because it goes a long way. While you're at it, subscribe to my man on the Warpath to my left. He's on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And subscribe to my man Pedro Smith on the right. He's on the road to 6,000 subscribers. He's almost there. I believe he's at 5.8. Get my man to 6,000 subscribers. And yeah, like I said, subscribe to all three of us. And also, if you want to take that extra step, donate to the channel. The money sign is down below in the description. Any amount helps out the channel, and obviously you get your message read aloud. Thank you so much in advance. Now let's continue on with the show. Actually, before we continue to talk, I want to address Armand Brown. Shout out to my man Armand Brown. He says, trade Landon Collins now. He's expensive. He's not getting any younger, and we can let McCain and Curl take the back end. Here's the thing about that. Your first part of your comment. Trade Landon Collins now. He is expensive. That's the problem right there. We can't trade Landon Collins because no one's going to want to take on that contract. And two, we can't cut him because he's going to be a detrimental to our cap, at least this year. We can try to do it next year. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's dead right there. I'll tell you that now because no one wants to take on that contract. Now, if we're talking about trade him next year and he has a phenomenal season this year, I'm talking all pro year, then maybe we can talk about that. But as of right now, no one wants to trade for Landon Collins. But your second part of your comment, I would love to see McCain and Cam Curl as your free safety and strong safety. Anybody wants to add on to that?
One quick thing, and I think like if you wanna trade Landon Collins, I mean, there's no reason to do it now, like at all. Like his value is at its lowest right now, coming off of 2 down seasons and an Achilles injury. Wait until after this season. If he has a great year, then maybe you can get a 3rd or 2nd round pick for him. And that's saying if he has a great year or a good year, or maybe if he has a great year, maybe you want to keep him. I don't know, but they can definitely trade him because I know now. I think they create like $200K in cap space right now if they cut him. Obviously, you're not going to do that. I'm not sure how it works via trade, but next year, if they trade him, they'll definitely be able to do it, or even cut him if they want.
Do you want to add on that on Warpath about?
And I think you get that flexibility too with them because we saw. I know in Richmond, I saw that you had McCain and Collins out there. You also had Curl and Collins out there. Bobby McCain actually played slot in Miami before he moved over to free safety. So it's giving you that flex and that versatility that Ron's looking for, right? On that defense side, in that Jack Del Rio, where he can give multiple looks. Well, maybe you might be able to bring Landon down as a linebacker in certain situations. Maybe they've talked about that. And maybe Bobby McCain, they can shift over them. I give you a look of something confusing there. I get it. Like I was off on the Landon Collins train. Homeboy looks good. And we talked about a lot of people, and our boy Roger even said it. He should have been on the PUP list. But the guy's out there like a heat-seeking missile right now, hitting the holes. I mean, every time you see something good out of this defense, it's either Benjamin St. Juste or Landon Collins, for the most part, in the secondary. So it's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So I think that, like Pedro said, it's baseline, right? Nobody's going to want we would get stolen from if we were to trade him right now.
Yep, and I agree with you by saying he's one of the guys that looks the best on that defense. If you guys don't know, Achilles injury typically ranges from 9 to 12 months, and I believe he came back in 7 months. I could be wrong, but I believe it was 7. And yeah, man, that's crazy to think about that. Hey, shout out to my man Rambling with Rio Robinson. Shout out to Rambling with Rio Robinson. He's up in here. If you guys don't know about Rambling with Rio Robinson, my man Rio Robinson, like Warpath just said, he is a fan ambassador. I said before the show, obviously you guys didn't hear this because we didn't start it yet. I said Warpath is plugged in. This guy's on a whole nother level.
Yes.
Dancing with Jason Wright, you know what I'm saying? Talking with Julie, taking pictures with Tanya Snyder in his vlog. The guy's plugged in. I'm trying to get like Rio Robinson, man. I'm trying to get like Warpath too, because he's plugged in too, but he doesn't want to admit it. He wants to act like he's not plugged in, but he is. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get like these guys as far as it comes to plugging. So shout out to my man Rio Robinson. I will be on his channel tomorrow. We're doing a pregame show over there to preview this game that we're going to be watching tomorrow versus New England Patriots. So once that video comes out, I'll definitely promote it on my channel. So shout out to Rio Robinson, of course. If you guys haven't checked him out, go over there and subscribe to my man plugged in, just like on the Warpath. Even though on the
No.
Warpath doesn't want to admit he's
Hey,
not.
look, Rio got Rio
He
had. I'm telling y'all, Rio had like field access. He was actually passing out season tickets up there. I'm telling y'all. So the brothers plugged him and Jason Wright. They had to go in there and talk about the team name and everything. So Ambassador, it's not Rio, it is Ambassador Robinson.
Ambassador Robinson.
Right, Ambassador. But no, Rio is good people.
Yes,
So shout out to my brother.
Yeah, and like you said about Landon Collins, man, he is the guy that has looked good, but we would get robbed if we tried to trade him right now. I do want to move on to another position group that I'm actually excited to see. I don't know if you would. I guess you would consider it a position group, but kick return or punt return for that matter. I want to see that in this preseason. You know what I'm saying? Last year we know how abysmal it was with Steven Sims. Who was going to be our punt return last year? I think the person that gets put out there first, that's who they are leaning more towards the most as of right now. But who do you guys want it to be, and who are you guys looking forward to the most to see take those punts tomorrow and throughout this whole preseason? Me personally, I want it to be. I wish, like me going into it, and I know I talked about this with on Warpath, and I believe Pedro too, like months ago when we first signed Adam Humphries, because I know he had experience with catching punts. I just want him to catch the ball. I don't care about trying to take it to the house. Of course, that's good and all. I just want to catch the ball. And I said Adam Humphries should be the punt returner just because I know he's going to be contributing on the slot, and I know he's a guy that's going to catch the punt. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, they look like they've leaned more towards DeAndre Carter, Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright, Dax Milne. Me personally, I want to see Dax Milne and DeAndre Carter, for the punt return, because like I told you guys, if you've been watching my videos, I said I don't think they're just going to devote one spot, that being punt return, to one player. He has to contribute in his specific position group. So for an example, if it's DeAndre Carter that's going to be our punt returner, he has to contribute in the wide receiver room. If it's going to be Danny Johnson, who's another guy that I want to, get some shine at punt return. I was a huge advocate, and you can go back in any game through it late in the season. I said, why didn't we have Danny Johnson back at punt return? He's a guy that has been phenomenal kick return, at least catching the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want. But Danny Johnson is another guy who I want to be out there. But DeAndre Carter or who was I talking about? I think it was Dax Milne. I believe it was Dax Milne. I think it was.
Yeah.
But Dax Milne, another guy. If he's going to make this roster, it's not just going to be punt return. It's not going to be that. He has to contribute in the wide receiver room. Danny Johnson, like I just said, he has to contribute at cornerback. I don't think they're just going to devote it to just being a punt returner. You're not going to make this roster just being a punt returner. So I do think whoever makes them win a job at punt return, he's going to have to contribute at any point of their specific or respective position group. But about that punt return, who do you guys want to see be our punt returner? Who do you guys think it's going to be ultimately, and who are you looking forward to the most in preseason? I think I started with Pedro last time, so I'm going to start with Court.
Okay, my answer to all this is going to be very simple. Who do I want to see back there? Somebody who can feel the damn ball. That's all I want. I don't care who it is. I really don't care at this point, because if it's Steve Sims back there and we see what happened like against Carolina and some of the dumb stuff he's done there, Danny Johnson, that's one thing you can say about him. He is reliable. But the guy who I want, who I think is going to be it, and this is all pending on if he has a good camp. I said Dax Milne was struggling off the gun with getting punts. DeAndre Carter, when that ball hits his hands, it pops, and he secures that thing. He is a professional kickoff returner. He is a specialist. It should be, and it needs to be DeAndre Carter. I think he's going to rise up. He's going to take that spot. And this was a guy that we were discrediting. Nobody in their right mind up until 2 weeks ago was saying, DeAndre Carter has a good shot of making this roster. It's going to be Adam Humphries, y'all. I tell you this, I just want him to be a receiver, because it's a question of if not when that boy is going to get hurt again. Yeah. That's just what it is with him. He's injury prone. It's going to happen. DeAndre Carter, get him back there. And I think that's going to be the guy who's going to be returning kicks for the Washington football team when Los Chargers Day, Los Angeles comes there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for me, here's the thing with Carter. I mean, you look at his history, he fumbles it every time. I mean, he has a big fumbling issue. I think it's like six plus maybe 9 fumbles in his career. I don't know if it was as a kick returner or as a punt returner, but that's still concerning nonetheless. We'll see though. I mean, it really just matters of how he is right now. But what I think should be the solution is, okay, if you have an elite returner, someone like Devin Hester, Patterson, who played with the Bears last season, you can keep a guy who's an elite returner on your roster if he just does that. And Patterson did other things. But I think that there's no reason none of these guys on this team, even if Carter's a decent returner, none of them are elite returners at all. So what I think you should do, take advantage of the practice squad, advantage of the practice squad rules where you can, and there's 55-man game day rosters this year. You can cut DeAndre Carter, Dax Milne, keep them on the practice squad, even Isaiah Wright, and you can call these guys up 2 games each season, and you can just call them up and put them on the active roster, and then eventually there's going to be an injury to a receiver or to someone else where you can just call them up and put them on the roster. I would say my preferred solution, though, if I'm saying I want to keep one guy, it would probably be, like you said, Danny Johnson, because he can already do kick returns, and he's solid at that. I mean, he usually just took a knee, which I think is a good idea. But when he did take it out, he usually, got it past the 25. And I think he would be, and I think he took a few punts out last year too, and he was okay with that. So that's what I would do. Danny Johnson, he can be kick returner and punt returner and be that last corner.
Yep. I think that you kill 2 birds in 1 stone if you do that. But we'll see what they do at the punt return or punt return position. That is the one that I'm looking forward the most. Let me shout out my man Rudy. Shout out to Rudy for the $9.99 donation. He says, just want to say, keep it up. Great work, all 3 of y'all. HTTR. Shout out to you, Rudy, man. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. It helps out the channel a lot. If you guys want to be like my man Rudy, you can click that money symbol down below and donate any amount. It helps out the channel. But of course, if you don't want to do that, that's fine with me. You being here means all the world to me. So shout out to Rudy once again. I appreciate the $9.99 donation. Yeah. So back to punt return. Yeah, I do agree with both of you guys. But I think if they want to be smart about it and kill 2 birds in 1 stone, either go with DeAndre Carter or go with Danny Johnson. Why? Because he can be cornerback depth and he's your kick returner already and your punt returner. So you don't have to have 2 different players on that front. Now, let me get to some of these comments before we continue on with the live stream. Shout out to my man, obviously Rio up in here. Clover, he says De'Ami Brown. I don't know if De'Ami Brown is going to be. I did see him Friday practice. I'm trying to remember. Was that on trying to down inside the 10 or inside the 5. I think he was there with them on that. I don't know if he was on punt return. I'm trying to think. I don't think he was. I don't think he was. But De'Ami Brown, I don't think they're going to do that with him only just because they're trying to focus on making him a phenomenal wide receiver. Shout out to Rashid. He says, what's up, Mom? What's going on, my man? Roger Smith says, Steve Smith Jr., I know everybody wants to cut him, but he's playing well so far this season. The Lions dude is so depressed. He is looking to get abused. So the Lions guy made another comment. He says, Cowboys will win the division. So he's secretly a Cowboys fan. And any team is better than the Lions, man. So, hey, do whatever you got to do, man. But I don't know if that's the move you want to make, man. I'm telling you, you don't want to go from another depressed fan base to another one because I'm telling you, if you want to be a Washington fan, because you're here for a reason. If you want to be a Washington fan, it's better to jump on the bandwagon now before we actually, be really good. Then do it a year from now when we're one of the best teams in the NFL and people could talk to you about being a bandwagon. So I'm telling you, man, applications are out now. Just hit my link in the description, man. Take you right to the Google Doc, man. I'm telling you. But shout out to everybody in here. I really do appreciate you guys for being here. Let's take this time. Shout out to my man Philip B. But let's take this time to promote ourselves because that's what we're doing here. We're here to talk about Washington football team in front of these great people. Let's start it off by saying this. Make sure you guys subscribe to me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JGTS, trying to go both of those platforms. Also, subscribe to my man, to my right, Pedro Smith. I'm pointing this way. Yeah, Pedro Smith to my right. On the Warpath to my left. On Warpath on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Pedro is on the road to 6,000 subscribers. I'm on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We're hitting so many milestones over here. I'm going crazy. Pedro is at 5.8. Get my man there soon. Get my man on Warpath to 3K. Get me to 4,000. Like, comment, subscribe, all of our channels. I appreciate you guys in advance on the behalf of these two wonderful gentlemen. Now let's get on back to the show. Shout out to Toho. I don't know if I said shout out to Toho, but shout out to Toho. Shout out everybody in here. But now it's that time, the final stretch of this show. Let's talk preseason ball. Let's talk about tomorrow. What are you guys looking forward to the most? And I know we kind of already talked about that, but as a whole, what are you guys looking forward to the most tomorrow? I know it's just going to be the first one, so we may not see everything that we're expecting, but in general, what are you guys looking forward to the most? I know somebody really says score predictions 55-6. Honestly, I don't care about the score. It's preseason. Yeah. I don't care if we win or lose. But if that's the case, hey, man, I'm all for it. But Pedro, I'm going to start with you. I think I started with you last time, or Warpath. I can't remember, but I'm going to start with you on this one. What are you looking forward most in preseason tomorrow, at least tomorrow?
Just seeing the young guys. Really all the rookies and second-year players. I think that's really what the preseason is about. We have so many young guys that are battling for that 45 to 53, those spots on the roster. But want to see Jamin Davis, Sam Cosmi especially, because if he can be solid for us at right tackle, that's going to be a huge boost. Because, if he's an average or better tackle this year, you have Leno, who's average. You got Wes Schweitzer also, I think, is Wes Schweitzer or Eric Flowers. They're both average guards. You got Chase Roulier, who's a really good center. Brandon Sheriff, an elite guard. Not in the, Zach Martin or Quinn Nelson's of the world, but he's still really, really good. And then you got Sam Cosmi, and that's an above-average offensive line. And I think John Matsko will do a really good job coaching him up. So Sam Cosmi, excited to see him. De'Ami Brown, obviously, just see if the hype is real. I think it will be, but let's see how he looks. And then Jarrett Patterson also. I want to see how he looks because, it's going to be interesting because right now I don't think he makes the roster. But if he has a really, really good preseason, then they might not be able to stash him on the practice squad. Because I think right now, since he went undrafted, I think the Washington football team thinks that they can, stash him on the practice squad. But if he has a really good, preseason, then maybe they won't be able to, and maybe they keep him on the roster.
Yep. Warpath, about you, man? What are you most excited to see?
I'm most excited just to see the team in action. Pedro just said Jarrett Patterson. I'm looking to see him. De'Ami Brown, if he's going to go out there, or are they going to pull a Jay Gruden and keep him under wraps until the regular season, like they did with Terry McLaurin there. On defense, I want to see the first round pick. I want to see Jamin Davis. What is he going to do right now? I think the unofficial depth chart has him as the Mike linebacker. So how does he work with calling plays out and making adjustments on the fly there? I said Ben St. Juste. A lot of these rookies I'm looking forward to seeing. But funny or not, Cameron Cheeseman is who I'm looking forward to seeing as well, too, just because of the fact that for the longest time it's been Sundberg, Way, and Hopkins. Now you add in a different long snapper. I don't think a lot of people realize how important a long snapper can be to that piece, right, of making a field goal or making an extra point. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and seeing how that relationship develop with those guys as well. And, just get those starters out there as quick as possible. Go down the field. If you can get a field goal out of it, go ahead and sit them down and just get ready for Cincinnati.
Yep. I agree with everything you said there. And I want to actually start with the specialist. I want to start with Cam Cheeseman. Because like you said, I don't think people realize how spoiled we were with Nick Sundberg. I don't even remember a time where it was a botched snap. And if it was, It wasn't Nick Sundberg's fault. It wasn't his fault. And so people don't realize how good we had it with Nick Sundberg. I don't know why they, released him. That I believe they said it was something with injury. I don't remember exactly what they said. I don't know why they released him. Warpath, we were there Friday. We know Cam Cheeseman had a terrible snap. I didn't see it again. I had to look on the jumbotron because they were on the opposite side of me. But I did, sit on the jumbotron. He had a bad snap, and we can't have those, man. We can't have those. We know we play Green Bay this year. Is it here or is it in Lambeau?
At Lambeau.
It's at Lambeau.
Yes,
it's at
sir.
Lambeau. And you know how cold it gets up in Lambeau. You know how loud it's going to be. And, yeah, man, so Cam Cheeseman, I'm excited to see how he's going to look because we can't be having those botch snaps. Moving on to another player that I'm excited to see, Ben St. Juste, man. Tomorrow, this is probably the most we're going to see opposing starters, probably outside of that, that game versus Cincinnati. But tomorrow, we're going to see a bunch of New England's real team. Bill Belichick has been a guy that played his starters in preseason. He played Tom Brady a lot in preseason. So, and he already came out and said that he's going to play his starters. Ron Rivera already came out and said we're going to play our starters. So it's going to be Ben St. Juste against Jacoby Myers, against Nelson Aguilar, against Kendrick Bourne. And their wide receiving core is not good at all. It's not that good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Aguilar kind of revived his career in Las Vegas. Kendrick Bourne was okay. He was terrible against us. I know you guys remember that 49ers game. He was terrible against us, but he's okay. Jacoby Myers, he's okay. But more of the story, Benjamin St. Juste is going to go up against real opponents. He's been going up against Terry McLaurin, so I'm excited to see how he, goes up against a real opponent because this is a guy who I believe can be our number 2 corner alongside William Jackson. Another guy that I'm excited to see, like I already said before earlier in the show, Khaleke Hudson. I want to see him be that weak side linebacker. So I want to see what he can look like. Also, and I don't think we stated the obvious. Taylor Heineke versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. I want to see how that quote, let me put it in camera, quote battle, because it's not really a battle. Come on now. We know it's not really a battle. We know Ryan Fitzpatrick is a starter, but since Ron Rivera wants to keep framing it as a battle, I want to see how this battle is going to look. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to give Fitzpatrick a half and give Taylor a half or Taylor a quarter and Fitzpatrick a quarter and then Montez. I don't want to see Steven Montez, man, but they're going to throw him out there. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I want to see how that's going to, work out. And we got to talk about that actually before we get out of here is the quarterback battle. But that is what I'm most excited to see. Last person, Jared Patterson. Shout out to Song Ho. Jared Patterson is a guy that I'm excited to see. You guys know why. He's from my area, man. He's from my hometown, PG County. So he's another guy like Chase Young that I root for 10 times harder than I root for anybody else, just because he's a guy that made it out of here. I don't want to make it seem like it's hard to make it out of here, but you know what I mean. He made it out of here. And yeah, man, he's a guy that has a chip on the shoulder, undrafted guy. And I want to see him make this roster. I don't think it's going to happen just because Peyton Barber is so good for us. But I wish it just by somehow. I like Peyton Barber and all, but I really want Jared Patterson to get that third running back spot. So he's going to have a huge preseason. But before we move on to what I want to talk about last, we got 2 donations. Shout out to my man Darius Long with the $5 donation. He says, I am a diehard Washington football team fan. This team is going to really surprise some teams. Our defense is hungry and downright nasty. Props, fellas. Yeah, you're totally right. You hit it on the head. I think we're going to surprise a lot of teams. I think we're going to surprise Tampa Bay. That's a team that I think we're going to beat. Nah, let me not get too ahead of myself. I take that back. I was about to say, no, actually, I don't know. I didn't have my prediction list ready yet, but I felt like so we open up against LA. I think we're gonna beat LA, and I think we're going to beat New York. No, I was about to say I felt like we were gonna beat Buffalo, but nah, I don't think we're gonna start off 3-0. If we lose to New York, though, I hope it doesn't happen because I'm tired of losing New York. But if we somehow lose to New York, I think we're gonna beat Buffalo, man. But I think we're going to beat New York, and I don't think we're going to beat Buffalo, man. That Buffalo is just on another level. But shout out to Darius Long with the $5 donation. Tone Ho. Shout out to my man Tone Ho with 2,000 donations. I hope Jared Patterson makes the team. I do too, man. You just heard me say why I believe he should make the roster or why I want him to make the roster. So shout out to you guys. It means a lot. If you guys want to be like Darius Long or Tone Ho, hit that money sign. The link is down below in the description. Of course, any amount helps out the channel. But of course, if you don't want to, that's fine with me. You just being here means the world. So yeah, I want to talk about the quarterback position because surprisingly, we really didn't talk about that all today in the show. What are you going to be? Because I know everybody has a different eye for the quarterback position. What are you going to be looking for closely as far as a quarterback pattern? I'm going to start with Warpath here. As far as Taylor Heineke and Ryan Fitzpatrick goes, how close are you going to be watching this battle? And what are you going to critique from the two? You know, and when I mean critique, I mean by if Ryan Fitzpatrick has an incompletion or a possible pick or Taylor Heineke vice versa, what are you going to be looking for in this quarterback battle to, you know, give us the guy that's going to give us the best chance to win? I have to put it that way.
It's no battle. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. I'm convinced of it after seeing what we saw on Friday, kind of seeing what I saw in Richmond. Heineke, he's just not in the same class as Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's saying something. And you guys know how much I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I've been on the Ryan Fitzpatrick boat all since he was signed here. I think he's going to be elite. He might be league MVP for all I know. But no, I don't think it's a competition. I think we need to pull the wool over off our eyes. Ron, this wasn't going to be a quarterback battle again. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick, I am comfortable with it. And Manny, I'm not paying attention to you in the comments, brother. Let me apologize to this, but I will tell y'all, I'm rolling with Fitzpatrick, but if something happened, shut up, Pedro.
Hey, me and Manny were on the Fitz train.
Yeah, I know y'all were, you jerks. And
I'm with Warpath, by the way, if you were wondering. I'm with Warpath.
Yeah, hey, I'm with him, Juan, but I'm gonna say the first time he does something to screw us over, I'm be like, well, that was interesting. Can't really get mad at that because we knew that was coming. So you know,
seen this movie before.
Yep, I'd be like, I've seen this movie. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna look. He throws a pick that costs us a game. I'm not gonna get mad. I was gonna put the glasses on. Y'all can clip that.
Yep. And I want to add on to that for all the people that, and of course, I want to see Ryan Fitzpatrick be successful. But for all the people that were giving me hate on my video when we first signed Ryan Fitzpatrick and saying you need to give the guy a chance, obviously I'm going to do that, and trying to tell me why he's so good and he's been this good in the last 2 years. He's been playing the best football, and that's true and all. But when he throws a game, you know, winning interception or a game losing interception for us, and he causes us a game or two, I don't want to hear it in my comment section of bitch Fitzpatrick. Why did we sign this guy? What did we tell you when we signed him? What did we tell you? You know what I'm saying? So I already know I'm gonna hear it regardless, but I'm telling you, I'm warning you now, man. He's going to cost us a game or two against a team that we very. For an example, my bad, Pedro. I'll let you go, but let's just say, who do we play that's not really that good? Because our schedule is tough. But if I'm trying to think of a team that we should really just take care of, I don't honestly know.
Eagles.
I was going to say Denver, but that defense, man, top 5 defense, man.
Giants. I think it's going to be the Giants this year because y'all know. Okay. Hold on, and I'm going to tell you this right now. So the Giants let their uniform schedule out early, and when they come to FedEx Field in week 2, they're wearing their home blues, boys. The all whites is going to be out, I'm pretty sure. And you know that means business. That means business for us. That means business for us. That means snapping bad streaks and everything. So I think we're going. I think Ron ready. Ron and them are ready. They got to. If you don't think they have drilled this in their head, there's something wrong with it because they have drilled this probably from day one. Say these dudes think they're better than us because we won the division last year and they didn't, and we couldn't beat them.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say about Fitz is, I mean, you guys can say that he's gonna lose us some games, but he's also gonna win us some games too. Like he did with the Dolphins versus the Raiders. Like that was all him coming in for Tua. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like super high on Fitz, but I just think he's going to be a lot better than what we had last year, and I think he can be,
Oh, definitely.
I think he can be, and I'm not even saying he's going to be an average quarterback. Like if he can be slightly below average, like that is way better than what we had last year. And in terms of the quarterback competition, like I'm not even going to blame Ron on this one because like he tried at least to make it a little bit of a competition by giving Heineke some reps, but I mean to make it a competition, Heineke actually has to, you know, compete. He has to actually look like he, push Fitzpatrick, and that really, it looked like it was happening a little bit in minicamp and OTAs. But I mean, I've just been hearing the whole time that Fitzpatrick has been totally outplaying him, and I'm not blaming Ron on, I don't think really it was he should have just said that Fitzpatrick was gonna be the starter right away because we kind of knew that.
Right.
But I mean, he gave Heineke some first team reps, and I like Heineke as I don't like him as a potential franchise quarterback, but I think he's an intriguing guy. But Heineke, got some reps, first team reps. I know he did early on, and he couldn't do much with it. But I think it's gonna be Fitzpatrick. And I think he's going to have a long leash because he's looked good. But we'll see, though, in the preseason because I think Heineke is going to be one of those guys where he's not really good in practice, but in the games when, he has to go out of the pocket, extend plays, that's when I think, he might look a little bit better or a lot better than what he looked in practice. And I don't still, even if he has a great preseason, I don't think he'll be the starter, but I think they'll feel more comfortable putting him in if Fitzpatrick is hurt or not playing well. And one thing also, you were talking about what you think the rotation will be in terms of how much each quarterback will play. I think this game, Fitzpatrick plays one possession, maybe two possessions. If it's like a 3-and-out or one big play touchdown, then I think they'll do one more possession. And then I think Heineke might get like, I don't know. It's tough. It just really sucks that Kyle Allen is hurt because I really think we might see Steven Montez play for more like a half. I think we might see Steven Montez play for a full half, which I do not want to see happen. I know some people like Steven Montez, but that's why I wouldn't be mad if Fitzpatrick played a little bit more because I do not want to see Steven Montez play for a half. And Heineke also was injured the other day in practice, and I know he came back from it, but like, who knows if he's even going to be able to play more than a quarter and a half,
Yeah, and I'll say this now. I'm streaming the game. Warpath is streaming the game. If Steve Montez is in for a half, we're asleep. We're going to sleep. I got my cover ready.
Make the
I'm
recap
going to be
video
asleep
early.
if Steven Montez play. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and like we got our video out early because nobody wants to see Steven Montez, man. Like, and that's what Ron saying it's a real quarterback competition. I know Fitzpatrick is the leader and all, and we assume him to be the starter, but leave him out there for a half, man, or close to a half, and then put Taylor in for the second half. If you want to make it seem like it's a real corp, nobody wants to see Steve. I don't even want to see Kyle Allen, man. Like, I don't know, but we got more depressed Detroit fan comments if you guys still want to talk about him or at least give him his shine. I'm letting him have because he's not going to have too much more shine when Detroit comes around their season start because it's going to be pain and misery for the guy. He says Ryan Fitz tragic. Okay, then he double back and says Fitz tragic. Or Stafford over Fitzpatrick. Duh. I mean, Matthew Stafford and all, but I don't even know why you're doing that yourself. You don't even have Stafford no more, man. So you got Jared Goff, a guy that, he's meh. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to Clover though. Clover says FedEx Field looks really good. Yeah. And me and Warpath could vouch for that. We seen it in public in public in real life. And yeah, it looks really, really good, man. And I hope it feels good as far as the players playing on it too. It looks really, really good. Shout out to Clover. Clover also says Tressway quarterback 1. Roger Smith has a good comment here. He says, we need to offer the Texans a second round and a third round right now for Watson. It's a PR nightmare for them. Riverboat Ron shall roll the dice for his rights to start bidding, therefore, or there and go up to first limits. Now, here, let me say this. I see what you're saying here. I think what you're saying is offer them 2/3 or two a second and a third round, and then if they take it, or I don't know. Let me actually not say that because I'm thinking of it wrong. Never mind. Let me not actually say that I'm thinking of it wrong. I'm thinking of you saying that's what you want to offer, and then that's not really what you want to offer, and then they're going to say something. Forget about what I was about to say, but essentially what I'm saying now, they're not going to take a second and a third for Watson. We're gonna need, and I believe you can trade 3 at most. We're gonna have to give up 3 first rounds, probably 2 second rounds, a third, and a player. I don't know if we want to do all that right now. If we're a quarterback away, but I feel like that may be a little too much. That's why I was a fan of getting, Detroit's quarterback Stafford. No offense to Lions fan in here, but Stafford. And also, let me say this. You can quote me on this. This is one that I'm confident in. I was confident in the Dwayne Haskins thing. I don't know why I brought that up on myself, but I just brought it up just to bring it up again. But I was confident in Dwayne, but I'm more confident in this. Washington will land Aaron Rodgers next offseason. It makes too much sense, man. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know I probably am, but I feel like we're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 2018 or 2019 headed into 2020 season. All they were missing was a quarterback, and it was so happened that Tom Brady was a free agent, and I think that's going to be us next year. Now, I don't know if Rodgers is a free agent next year. I feel like we still might have to trade for him. I don't know his status for next year. But either way it goes, I think we're going to land Rodgers next year, man. I think we're going to land Rodgers next year. What do you guys think about that, actually?
Well, I've been telling y'all ever since the February before Deshaun Watson became Bill Cosby that he should have that we should have went out and got him. And I'm so proud of the OG Roger over there who has finally come around to saying that, we should bring Deshaun Watson over here. I've been trying to tell you this since the offseason, Roger. What's wrong with you, man? Aaron Rodgers, look, I'm telling y'all, book it. Aaron Rodgers come here. I'm getting that jersey. I'm getting me a number 12 jersey. Y'all know I don't wear a jersey. Y'all know I don't buy jerseys. I will buy me an Aaron Rodgers Washington football team, a Washington Red Wolves Aaron Rodgers jersey, and have it on, and I will wear that. I will simp for that. I will be straight up there. And I love Aaron Rodgers coming here, man. I think him and Ron Rivera could get along and get this team to where they want to go, and that's winning another Lombardi trophy. And what would be great, Vince Lombardi's team that he put on the map against the quarterback coming from his original team, and now the team that he last was the head coach of, winning the Vince Lombardi trophy together. And nobody can make it up better than that. So, hey, I love it.
Yeah, I agree. Before I let Pedro go, I want to actually answer the comments right quick. Roger Smith, shout out to Roger Smith, OG. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers not coming here. He wants to go out west. I'm telling you this now. Rodgers may want to go out west, but what team out west is in need of a quarterback that is Super Bowl contenders like us? I'm thinking Denver's not really out west, but they could be a team that's in the AFC that is a quarterback away, obviously. But I'm telling you now, man. He may want to go out west, but if we talk to Rodgers and his agent and say, "Hey, Rodgers, man, we got the defense, we got the weapons later with Terry McLaurin. We just need you, man, and you can have a guarantee." And because I'm guaranteeing all this, and I know I may jump in the gun, but if we get Rodgers, it's going to be Tampa Bay and Washington in an NFC Championship in 2022, 2023, somewhere around that range. That's just my gut feeling, but who knows? I could be way off, and I'll totally be fine with that. Also, Ricky, he says, but it doesn't make sense money-wise. We need to sign our players first. You have a point there, but I mean, if we're one player away, I'm giving him his extension, man. I'm sorry, man. Rodgers is just too good of a quarterback to not give him his extension. He deserves it, man. He's an MVP quarterback, but I don't know if it'll happen. I doubt it will, but that's just my opinion. And a man could dream. Why can't he? A man could dream. But Pedro, what do you think about the Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers stuff about, and the likelihood of it happening for us? And would you do it?
Watson, I don't know. Watson, just we'll see with that next year. If things get resolved, then maybe it's a possibility. But I think the price is going down with everything that's going on with him. But Aaron Rodgers, I would love to get Aaron Rodgers. Give up a lot to get him. I mean, he's the second best quarterback in the league. Just won MVP. Only we have to win though. Like this year, without him, like we have to win 9 to 10 games at least if he wants to come here. Like he's not going to come here if we go 7-10, even 8-9. That's just not going to happen. Got to win 9+ games, I think, and win the division or at least make the playoffs. If he's going to come here, but yeah, absolutely would love Rodgers. I don't care about how old he is. 37 years old or whatever. I think that's what he is. Brady's 44, and I know not everyone's Brady, but I mean you're starting to see quarterbacks play into their early 40s more and more, and Rodgers gives you at least 3 seasons of elite play, and then probably 1 or 2 seasons after that of top 10 play.
Yeah, and like you said, Rodgers 37, almost 40. He's not Brady, but he's the closest thing we have to another Brady as far as the longevity and the talent wise. So shout out to my man Tony P56 with the $2 donation. He says, "What's up? Anyone buying Landon Collins hype?" No, we talked about this earlier, but we can double back for my man Tony P56. Shout out to Tony P56. If you guys want to be like Tony P56 and donate to the channel, any amount is available, or helps out the channel. The money sign is down below in the description. Like I said, anything helps out the channel. But of course, if you guys don't want to, you just being here means the world to me. So with the buying Landon Collins hype, me personally, I'm not. I learned my lesson last year with buying the hype in training camp with Troy Aikman. Ron Rivera said, "Oh, he's looking really good. He's looking like a real. He can be a guy for us that's going to be out there." And we saw that early in the season, week 1, that he was not ready. So I know Landon Collins is not Troy Aikman, but essentially what I'm saying is I'm not buying training camp hype. I have to see it in the game. Training camp hype, I have to see it in the game. I learned my lesson again. Of course, I'm rooting for Landon Collins, but he's on his last limb with me because he's robbing us of $85 million at this point. But of course, I'm rooting for him. Pedro, what about you, man? I'm gonna start with you, and then on the Warpath.
I mean, I somewhat believe it. I somewhat believe that he's back to where he was last year and the year before, but I don't know if he's better than ever. We'll see. I think he can be solid for us. I do think he was struggling last year because, partly because he was new to the defense. So let's see what he does this year. But I'm I'm in the middle. I'm cautiously optimistic about him, but I'm not I'm not super high on him.
Warpath?
I'm holding out hope that he will kind of live up to his contract. It's like I said, we've played the Giants 4 times, and we have not beaten the Giants since Landon Collins has been on this roster. And it's an atrocity. That's your one job. Beat your former rival in the division. And you got to have big baller games there, not getting fights and picking fights with people like you did the first time you played them. So, I hope that he can go out there, and it seems like teams believe in him. They named him the union rep for him. So they got to believe in him somehow. I think the players are, and Cam Curl has spoken highly of him. I think Kendall Fuller did as well, too, in a press conference last week. So, I'm not buying it, pray tell, but I'm like, it's something that makes it go, And I'm like, okay, well, I'll play a wait and see approach with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too on that front. So we're at 1 hour and the 12-minute mark. We'll take a couple more comments here before we get out of here, but it's been a great show. I appreciate these wonderful gentlemen for taking their time out their day to come on my channel. Once again, before we get out of here, we'll take a couple more comments, and I do want to do a last promotion check, because why not? We're here to promote our channels and talk Washington football. So I'm going to ask you guys, do me a favor. Subscribe to me, Juan Gotti Talking Sports, the man in the middle, the one that's hosting the show today. Normally we're on Pedro's or on the Warpath channels, but today I'm running the show. So subscribe to me, your man Juan Gotti Talking Sports, on the road to 3,000 subscribers. I'm sorry, I'm selling myself short right there. 4,000 subscribers. And shout out to my man Pedro on my fault, on my right here. He is on the road to 6,000 subscribers, 5.8K to be exact. Get my man Pedro Schmidt to 6,000 subscribers. Get me to 4,000 subscribers. And my man on the Warpath, the guy that is plugged in, who doesn't really want to say he's not plugged in, but we know he's not plugged in. He's on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Subscribe to all three of us. It means the world if you do. And, of course, it's free. And we're all here to talk Washington football team in burgundy and gold. So we'll take some more questions here or some more comments before we get out of here. Shout out to my man Tony P56 for another donation. I really do appreciate it. He says also thanks to you guys for putting out Washington football team content. Hey man, we appreciate the support because without you guys, we're nothing. Without you guys, we're talking to ourselves. We look like clowns talking to a phone or talking to a camera now. But trust me, without you guys, we would look even more stupid. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we're just at the end of the day, we're just fans talking about Washington football team. We're just regular people, but yeah, thank you for the support because without all you guys, without all 3,000 of you guys on my channel, without all 6,000, almost 6,000, 5.8 on Pedro's channel, and without all 2,000, almost 3,000 subscribers on my man on the Warpath channel, we're nothing. You know what I'm saying? We're just talking to ourselves. So I do appreciate all the support from Tony P6056 and everybody else that's in here. It means the world. Now, the last question I want to take is from my man Sean White. Shout out to Sean White. He says, do you guys think BSJ can play the outside this year? I already said in my case, you guys know I do think that he can. I think that it should be him on the other outside alongside William Jackson being cornerback 1 and Kendall Fuller in a slot. But Warpath, I'll start with you since I did with Pedro last time. Do you think he can play outside, and do they go into the season with him playing outside? Or if they don't, who is going to start on the other outside of William Jackson? Obviously, we think it's going to be Kendall Fuller. But if he does not start, let me say it that way, if he doesn't start the season at outside corner, does he eventually get the nod?
I'm going to say yes to that he can eventually play. And I think day one, barring any health concerns or anything like that, I said, why not? He's going to get trial by fire in tomorrow. So we'll see how he does right there and how he can stand on the outside. So, yeah, I'll say, yeah, he'll start week 1 on the outside.
Pedro?
Yeah, I think definitely by mid-season, if he's looking solid, I think definitely he'll be on the outside. And I think, early on, I think they're going to be having a bunch of different packages out there. And, some will have him on the outside, some will have him not on the field. But I think, yeah, at some point, maybe even early on, he'll be starting on the outside. And it could even be week 1, yeah.
Yep. So that was the last question. Actually, let's answer this just to get out of this something quick. Tom says, who will start tomorrow? I hope it's Ryan or Taylor. It's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick who's going to start.
Magic.
We don't know how long it's going to be. Probably a drive or two, but he's going to be the guys that start or the guy that starts. So, yeah, man, it's been boy Juangotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington football team. Make sure you guys subscribe to On the Warpath and Pedro Schmidt. Their links are down below in the description. I really do appreciate you guys for coming on today, taking your time out to talk some Washington football team with me and everybody else in here. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to me, Warpath, and Pedro Schmidt. We're all three, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.